Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. Nigerian governors have passed a vote of confidence on the Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun and the Minister of Budget and National Planning Udoma. The governors gave both ministers their backing during the meeting at the National Economic Council chaired by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Thursday. They reasoned that rather than blaming the two ministers for the declining economy, they should be commended for their efforts in reviving the Nigerian economy. Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu had on Wednesday asked President Muhammadu Buhari to reshuffle his cabinet, particularly suggesting the redeployment of the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Budget and National Planning. The senator made the call as the Senate began debate on the state of the Nigerian economy. The appeal court has upheld the election of Seriki Dixon as the duly elected governor of Bayelsa State. The court reaffirmed the decision of the Bayelsa Governorship Election Tribunal, which also upheld the election. Dixon of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) had defeated the All Progressives Congress candidate Timi Silva at the election held in January 2016. Following the results, Silva challenged the election at the tribunal. The court dismissed the petition of Silva for lack of merit. The five-man panel of the appeal court held that the supplementary election that took place on January 9, 2016 was proper and valid. Justice Bada, who delivered the lead judgment, held that Silva and his party failed to prove the allegations of corruption, substantial non-compliance, gross violation of the Electoral Act and other malpractices in the conduct of the election. Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari says he is open to the intervention of the United Nations in talks with Boko Haram over the rescue of the missing Chibok girls. Speaking during a bilateral meeting with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, Buhari said his government was willing to accept the UN as a mediator in the talks with the sect. He admitted that there were challenges in reaching out to the sect due to their leadership issues. The schoolgirls in Chibok, numbering over 200, were kidnapped by the Boko Haram sect in April 2014. Just last month, the group released a video of the girls demanding the release of their members in the custody of security agents in exchange for the schoolgirls. The Nigerian government, in response last week, said it remained committed to the safe release of the girls. A statement issued by the Office of the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the government had earlier made plans to ensure the safe release of the schoolgirls by agreeing to free detained members of the insurgent group. However, the Boko Haram sect had backed out of the deal. The Nigerian police force has reacted to allegations of Amnesty International accusing the force of torturing detainees and demanding bribes in exchange for freedom. Amnesty International, in its report published on Wednesday, accused the SARS unit of torturing suspects and demanding bribes. The rights group said people arrested by the Special Anti-Robbery Squad (SARS) were stabbed, beaten, shot and subjected to mock executions until they either pay a bribe or even make a confession to be released. But in a statement issued on Thursday, police spokesman Don Awuna described the allegations as misleading and a clear misrepresentation of facts of the current situation in the SARS department throughout the country. The Nigerian Labour Congress on Thursday dismissed as misleading speculations that talk between the federal government and the Labour Union on the new national minimum wage had collapsed. President of the NLC, Aiba Waba, in an interview with Newsmen, said that the talks had not even started. According to him, the government is foot-dragging on the issue. He said a structure that should consider the modalities for the implementation had not even been inaugurated by the government. The three tiers of government shared a total of 510 billion naira for the month of August at the monthly allocation from the Federation account. Briefing journalists at the end of the Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting, Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun said there was a rise in dutiable imports which contributed significantly to the increase recorded by import duty and VAT. The minister said that the balance of the excess crude account stood at $2.91 billion so far.
Allocation, including solid minerals, 321,375,000,000 naira. Less 7% cost of collection to Nigerian Customs Service, 4,034,000,000 naira. 4% to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, 4,663,000,000 naira. 4% cost of collection to DPR, 2,627,000,000 naira. an NNPC refund to the federal government of 6.33 billion. Net statutory allocation is 303,721 million. And the distribution is as follows. The federal government of Nigeria, 149,310 million naira. State governments, 75,732 million. Local governments, 58,386 million. Derivation, 20,293 million, making the total of 303,721 million naira. The VAT gross collection for the month was 75,962 million, from which we deducted a 4% cost of collection in the sum of 3,038 million naira, giving a net of 72,924 million naira. And this was distributed as follows. Federal government, 10.939 billion. State governments, 36.462 billion. Local governments, 25.523 billion, and making a total of 72,924. So the grand summary is as follows. Statutory gross 315,046, VAT 75,962, giving a total distributable of 391,008, to which we added an exchange gain of 84,263 million. And excess PPT of 35 billion round. So the grand total is 510,271 million naira. And that's the total distributed. The balance on the excess crude, 2,917 million naira.
The Nigerian Labour Congress has slammed recent calls for the sale of some government assets and other sources to shore up reserves. Nigeria's Senate President Bukola Saraki urged federal executives in the country to increase capital from the sale of government assets and other sources to shore up the reserves, while Africa's richest man Aliko Dangote also made the recommendation during an interview. Now, in a statement issued on Thursday, NLC President Ayuba Waba said the idea is unacceptable to the union. The NLC President added that the calls are more worrisome when one considers the history of sovereign assets sold in the past. The House of Representatives has resolved to conduct an investigation into the allegations of old 2016 budget by some of its members. This followed a point of order brought under matters of privilege by the Chairman House Committee on Rules and Business, Emmanuel Okejev. While moving the point of order, Okejev called on for the suspension of Abdulmumun Jibrin, describing his allegations of budget padding as sundry act of misconduct against the members and institution of the House of Reps. Jibrin, who is the former chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation, accused the Speaker of the House, Yakubu Dogara, and some principal officers of padding the 2016 budget. He also insisted that Dogara should resign to allow investigations to be conducted into the matter. Meanwhile, Jibrin says he will not appear before the Committee on Ethics unless the hearing is made public. In a series of tweets on Thursday, Jibrin claimed that the move was an abuse of process and a clear case of manipulation and gross abuse of the House rule. He added that his summon was the easiest resort since the attempts to secure a vote of confidence had woefully failed. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, says the force would no longer deploy personnel of the Police Mobile Force to guard private individuals. Idris made the disclosure at a meeting with commanders of the Police Mobile Force, as well as the Special Protection Unit and the Counter-Terrorism Unit in Abuja. He said that the three units are currently undergoing reorganization and restructuring in accordance with their responsibilities.
The Nigerian Police Force feature units such as Police Mobile Force, Counter-Terrorism Unit, and Special Protection Unit are presently undergoing reorganization and restructuring. These units will henceforth be structured in accordance with their responsibilities. I want you to take that seriously. Therefore, in line with these responsibilities, it will be against force policy to deploy Police Mobile Force personnel to guard individuals or fragment their personnel into smaller units, as such is presently the case. I hope everybody understands that. If you see in most of our deployments, we are discouraging, the deployment of mobile to guard individuals because it is against their calling. That's not what they are meant for. They are meant to work as a unit, as a cohesive unit to tackle more serious situations, not guarding individual or taking somebody's wife, handbag, and what have you. The force has put in motion strategies to ensure that police mobile phone personnel are gradually replaced with special protection unit personnel who are saddled with responsibilities of crop protection to VIPs. This situation, depends largely on you, the commanders, because you are the one that are in charge of these men on the ground. You have to be very, very firm on this. We say gradual. What I mean by gradual is that if presently you are protecting somebody, and now we have a policy we are trying to change the protection of individuals with mobile police to SPU. If the SPU advise the man to apply to me, I will approve it. Most of the approval we give now is only SPU. We don't give approval for mobile police because we are trying to phase it out. The situation where individuals, and I just want to warn here, we are going to set up the escort. And by the time we set up the escort and they catch you deploying your men to guard individuals, you have a lot of English to write.
The Benin Traditional Council has announced the postponement of the coronation of the Crown Prince of Benin Kingdom, Prince Eheneden Erediowa. As the chairman of the Coronation Planning Committee, Gregory Akenzwa, made the announcement at a news conference at the Oba's Palace, saying the coronation has now been moved from September 26th to October 20th. Akenzwa said the reason behind the postponement of the date for the coronation was because of the forthcoming governorship election in the state. INEC had rescheduled the state governorship election, which was earlier slated for September 10th to September 28th due to some security threats. The Nigerian police force in Abuja confirmed the arrest of 4 suspects responsible for the kidnap and gruesome murder of Reverend Father John Adeyi. The late Reverend Father was, prior to his death, the parish priest of St. Bernard's Parish, Okboga, and Catholic Diocese of Otukbo in Benue State. The police said the suspects were rounded up at different locations in Bauchi, Enugu, and Benue States. Factional PDP leaders Ali Modu Sheriff and Ahmed McCarthy held a meeting in Abuja, the nation's capital, as they sought to end the lingering crisis in the party. At the end of the meeting, representatives of each faction jointly addressed a press conference where they said their leaders were working together to reposition the party. The caretaker committee was led to the meeting by its national secretary, Ben Obi, while Cairo Ojugbo, the deputy national chairman of the Sheriff faction, led its members. This will be the first time they would agree to work together since the party split into 2 factions at the national convention of the party in Port Harcourt, Rivers State in May this year.
In reviewing the crisis that has engulfed our party, the PDP, since the loss of the 2015 general elections after 16 years of uninterrupted leadership at the center, it became obvious to both of us as principal actors that it is time to heal the wounds and bring about a united, focused, and constructive opposition party that can bring sanity to our democratic process, bringing relief to the teeming supporters of our great party, the PDP, and to the benefit of our great country, Nigeria. Based on the above, we have both agreed to A, consult widely with all relevant organs of the party. B, set up a joint committee that will carry out a holistic reconciliation of all aggrieved segments of our party across the country and in diaspora. C, pursue the vision of the founding fathers of our great party, the PDP. Details of all the above will be made public soonest. We therefore call on all party members to remain calm and refrain from making any actions and utterances that could further bring about divisions or disputes in the party. Signed, Senator Ali Modu Sheriff, Senator Ahmed McCarthy for the PDP. Thank you very much.
You're watching TV360 News now. We'll take a quick break. When we'll come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Mr. John! Mr. John! What is it now?
What is it now?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. Eh? What's wrong with you? Is there another person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. You remember I paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption not in my country. You know, go to your bank. Go.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back to business stories now. Nigeria's naira hit a new record low of 436 naira to the dollar on the black market on Thursday, as dollar shortages on the official market persisted. Nigeria's dollar reserves stood at $24.83 billion by September 19, down 3.4% from a month ago. This is its lowest level in more than 11 years. The central bank has sold dollars on the interbank market to support the Nigerian currency. Meanwhile, currency traders said that liquidity challenges at the forex market were far from being resolved. The Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee on Tuesday decided to retain the country's benchmark interest rate at 14%. The CBN also decided to leave the existing cash reserve ratios for commercial banks at 22.5%. President Muhammad Buhari has told potential foreign investors that the current economic challenges the country is facing has opened a vista of investment opportunities. The president said Nigeria remains the #1 investment destination in Africa. The president gave the assurance to a large gathering of political and business leaders from the United States, Africa, and other regions of the world at the second United States Africa Business Forum in New York. President Buhari also promised some business incentives such as 5-year tax holiday for activities classified as pioneer, as well as tax-free operations and no restrictions on expatriate quotas in free trade zones, and a value-added tax regime of 5%. Bank deposits are mainly short-term in nature, and lending such funds to customers for long-term can lead to asset mismatch. Now, this is according to bank chiefs who spoke at the 2016 Annual Conference of Finance Correspondents Association of Nigeria (FICAN) in Lagos. The execs say although the lenders want the economy to grow by lending to farmers and other productive sectors of the economy, they also have to keep an eye on the stability of their institutions. Our correspondent Abiola Ismail now reports.
It is a forum where stakeholders in the banking, export trade and agricultural sector have come together to chart a way forward for Nigeria's economy. For long, Nigeria's banks have been accused of not engaging in long-term lending to the real sector, but the bankers at this gathering put up a strong defense, saying that is outside their core mandates. Managing Director of Fidelity Bank, Nnamdi Okonkwo, says there is no proper framework to enable local banks lend long-term to small and medium-scale enterprises. On his part, Group Head at Greek Finance Heritage Bank Limited, Olugbengawe, said inasmuch as banks will want to lend to non-oil sectors of the economy, the lenders always look out for customers' history of previous transactions to ensure that the loan will be repaid.
It's easier when you are borrowing in local currency. A lot of the people that actually borrowed in foreign currency, suffered exchange losses. But these ones are friendly priced at 9%. He talked about what goes to the banks. Truly, he was actually making a case for us. But in spite of that, banks are still saying, okay, at least you don't worry about the liquidity because CBN has provided liquidity. You only worry about managing the risk. The only thing is that we cannot price for risk as much as we would like to.
You are dealing with a lot of people. You are dealing with Vietnamese, you are dealing with Indians, you are dealing with a whole multitude of people. Some of them, you have not even seen them in your life. So, they are risky. The first one is payment, commercial risk. If I take this product abroad and I'm alone in a no man's land, who do I talk to? Because you can take your cocoa there and tell you the moisture content is more than 7%, the mold is there, sorry I can't take it. Or you take your charcoal and the issue is no, this is not the density we want.
But to exporters and manufacturers, they believe that banks' unwelcome attitude to lend credit to the real sector is partly responsible to the dwindling fortune of the economy in general.
The bank guidelines make it so rigorous and difficult for the user, those who need the funds, to really access it. I really won't blame the bank at that point in time, for sure. But then, a common man doesn't know the government per se. He knows the banker. He knows he has some money in the bank, and he should be able to go to the bank and ask for the money, for the facilities to support his business. So this is where the issue of the bank comes in.
The Ghana sells cocoa at £80 above the market price, while Nigeria sells cocoa at minus £150. So if you add 150 plus 80, that is £230. That's the difference between the cocoa in Ghana and the cocoa in Nigeria that has the same texture, the same aroma, the same quality. So we have a serious problem. And it starts from the ministry. I just said to them that you find out that Nigeria still use 1959 ordinance to grade cocoa in Nigeria.
Nigerian economy entered its second recession in the third quarter of last year, and since then, the country has been struggling to come out of it. The government has been injecting liquidity into the system to get the economy up and running again. It's urging the people to be patient, and the recession will be a short one. Abiola Ismail, TV360 Lagos.
Oil rose for a second day on Thursday as a weaker US dollar affected its prices. Brent crude futures rose 38 cents to $47.21 per barrel, while US crude oil futures were up 41 cents at $45.75 per barrel. A surprisingly large drop in US crude inventories emboldened investors ahead of next week's meeting between OPEC members and Russia to discuss supply. Analysts are not attaching a high chance to a deal materializing, and even if it does materialize, whether or not it would be enough to help clear the global overhang of crude oil supplies remains to be seen. The UN Human Rights Chief has accused Congolese authorities on Thursday of taking an extremely confrontational position towards anti-government protesters and urged them to seek dialogue with the opposition. The UN says at least 50 people died this week in the violence. The government, which has blamed the opposition for the unrest and vowed to punish the ringleaders, put the death toll at 32, including 4 officers. Opponents of Joseph Kabila think he's trying to retain power in the mineral-rich country by delaying elections due in November or amending the constitution to eliminate a 2-term limit in office. Egyptian rescue workers have found 9 more bodies in the Mediterranean Sea, a day after a boat carrying hundreds of migrants capsized, bringing the death toll so far to 52. The boat sank on Wednesday off Berg Rashid, a village in Egypt's northern Beira province, where the Nile meets the Mediterranean. Rescue workers have so far saved 169 people, which means the death toll could hit several hundreds. Egyptian authorities have arrested 4 crew members of the boat, which had been carrying almost 600 migrants. Moving on to sports stories now, the Nigerian Football Federation has condemned the invasion of the office of the league management company in Abuja by security operatives. The NFF in a statement on Thursday said the police, who had gone to the office on Wednesday, September 21st, from the FCT Police Command, apparently to arrest its chairman, Malam Shehu Diko, and its COO, Salisu Abubakar, carried out the action illegally. The NFF insisted that the act was in flagrant abuse of the time-honored decorum of judicial system, where the orders of the lower courts stand suspended when an appeal has been altered in a high court. End of quote. It called on all clubs, club officials, league officials, as well as football business entrepreneurs and fans to remain calm and be rest assured that both the NFF and the LMC were taking all necessary steps to resolve the issue. Nigeria's lower legislative chamber, the House of Representatives, has resolved to award the sum of 50,000 naira cash to each member of the Team Nigeria Paralympic team as reward for their historic performance at the Rio 2016 Games. The resolution followed a motion passed by Ayo Omidiran, an APC member representing Osun State, at the plenary on Wednesday. The lawmakers also resolved to host members of the team at a special plenary session. The performance of the Paralympic athletes totally eclipsed the performance of their Olympics counterpart, who endured a woeful outing at the Olympic Games in August this year. The Paralympians broke several world records on their way to winning 8 gold medals, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals. Nigeria's billionaire Aliko Dangote has admitted that he still intends to buy Premier League side Arsenal. Speaking to Bloomberg, Dangote says the Gunners need new ownership if they are to progress in the Premier League, and hinted that he plans to purchase the club within the next 4 years. The Nigerian had previously been interested in purchasing the 15.9% stake sold to Kroenke by Lady Nina Bracewell Smith in April 2011, only to pull out of the deal. American Stan Kroenke is Arsenal's majority shareholder, owning 67.05% of the club's parent company, Arsenal Holdings plc. Dangote, who is 59 years old, is ranked 67th richest man on the Forbes richest list and is also rated Africa's richest man by Forbes. Well, that's it on news now. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Thelma Okoro.